is Dr. Mark Hitchcock here for another episode of Marking the Times. I've appreciated the feedback that many of you have given on Facebook and YouTube. A lot of kind words have been expressed, so I appreciate that very much. You can keep those kind of comments coming, and then also send in your questions. They can be questions about Bible prophecy or other things. So we're going to be giving you prophecy updates here, but I love to answer questions. And one thing that's come to mind this week, especially for me, as I was thinking back a few years, is back on June the 6th of 2006. It was 666. And I did about 20 programs that day on all kinds of different outlets and national news programs about 666, and there was all kind of furor about that at the time. And several people have sent in questions about that recently to me about just the meaning of 666. And obviously, just in these brief little episodes, I don't have time to give all the information, but I thought I'd just mention a few things. The biblical entry point for the idea of 666, or the mark of the beast, is in Revelation 13. Verses 16 to 18. And it says, "He," that is this false prophet, "causes all, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, the freemen and the slaves, to be given a mark on the right hand or on the forehead." So it's a mark. It's like, and the word mark here, charagma in Greek, means like a tattoo or a brand or an etching. So it's going to be something that's upon the right hand or the forehead. And he says, "And he provides that no one should be able to buy or sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for the number is that of a man, and his number is 666. Now, a couple things about this. Some people think this applied to Nero back in the first century, because the word Neron Caesar, when you turn that over into numerical value, the letters in the numerical value does equal 666. There's something called gematria, and a gematria is where you take the letters of an alphabet and you assign a numerical value to those. And that's true. We have that both in Greek and Hebrew. So you can make a numerical value from a name or from some word. And if you take Neron Caesar, which is a defective spelling, it does equal 666. I don't have time to go into this in detail, but the problem is, if you read Revelation 13, most of the things in this chapter were not fulfilled in the time of Nero. So people who are preterists, they want to go back and say, well, Nero's name equaled 666, this defective spelling, Neron Caesar, but then they don't take all the other things in the chapter literally that weren't fulfilled in Nero's time. So people say, well, what is 666? Well, I do think it's the numerical value of the name of the final world ruler, the Antichrist. When he appears on the scene, I believe the numerical value of his name will be 666. People will be able to figure that out at the time and know who he is. You say, well, what is the significance of the number 666? Well, first of all, 666 is one short of 777, which 7 is the number of perfection. The number 7 occurs 54 times in the book of Revelation. So he's claiming to be God, this Antichrist, but he's just a man. He's 666. He falls short of deity. So I think there's that idea to it. But I think the number itself is going to be given to people as a sign of devotion to the Antichrist. Think about that. If 666 is the numerical value of his name, when people take his name on the right hand or on their forehead, they're going to be pledging allegiance to him. It's going to be a statement of their devotion to him. So they're going to be accepting Antichrist and rejecting Christ. It's going to be a watershed moment in history when people will have to make that choice during the future tribulation. But it's also a passport for commerce. You can't buy or sell unless you have this mark, which indicates that the Antichrist and this lieutenant of his, the false prophet, are controlling world commerce. It means there'll be a one world economy, which we certainly see the world moving in that direction. Now, when people today, try to come up with all kinds of things and say, this is the mark of the beast or that's the mark of the beast, they're jumping the gun. The mark of the beast won't be in place until after the rapture, when the Antichrist comes on the scene, and then it'll happen at the middle of the tribulation period, when he begins to dominate the world and take control, and everybody will have to pledge their allegiance to him. So there's no modern technology today that's the mark of the beast. Certainly, I think the Antichrist will use all kinds of technology that will be available to him to track people's lives and control them. But nothing we see today is the mark of the beast. It'll be something future. It'll be a literal mark on the right hand or the forehead that will show devotion to the Antichrist and be a passport to commerce in the world at that time. So hope that clarifies some of that. I just want to put in one shameless plug here today in this episode. The book I've written several years ago called The End is coming out next month in paperback. And it answers a lot of questions like we've answered today about 666. In these times today where a lot of date setting and a lot of really sensational kind of fanatical ideas that are out there, I think it's incumbent upon us as believers to understand what the Bible really does say about the future. So this is a book that will really help you. It's 500 pages. It's easy to read, though, I believe. It's very accessible. But it'll really help you understand the end times, what the Bible says about the future. And so if you've not read this book, I think you'll find it really helpful. It starts off with a lot of keys about how to interpret Bible prophecy, a lot of good information in this. So we'll look forward to seeing you next time. I may talk next week about the Six-Day War that happened back in June of 1967 and kind of how we see the repercussions of that still happening today. So hopefully we'll be able to do that next time. Thanks again. God bless you. Have a good week.